Well, that went bad quickly.
Prepare for battle.
Is that intentional? It looked intentional.
This is good.
30 seconds to battle.
Thank you very much. Suns fan with Sind here. I have a question for you, but first we're going to see which bounty runes are taken. They're all taken, Cinder, and it was a trick question. So,
damn.
Can you answer? I know I'm a divine one that recently downranked to Ancient 5, Cinder, so I'm a big noob, okay? This looks like the literal best Bloodseeker game I have ever seen for VPP if they had picked it.
In which
Do you
slot?
agree? You get double Rupture with Grimstroke. You have the synergy with Oracle ult, which is also good with Troll, obviously. You literally delete Pangolier as a hero. You counter Slark, and the attack speed is good for Tombstone.
So which slot should they have picked it in? Instead of the Nature's Prophet,
mid.
you think?
Well, I mean, I'm a noob. So
it is a really good Bloodseeker game. I'm not going to disagree with that, but it's always about the chronology of the draft, right? Like what got picked in what slot. They picked Troll second. So if you wanted to replace the Troll, they needed to pick the Pango or the Bloodseeker into Pango Rubik as the only two heroes they know about. I don't think that's good enough to pick Bloodseeker. So he needed more info, so then you need to pick it in a later slot, which means it needs to replace Pugna or Nature's Prophet. I wouldn't have minded them picking Bloodseeker here. I think it could have been good as a later pick as well.
I was waiting for some next level knowledge. Put me in my place.
No, it is a good Bloodseeker game. He is... I mean... The counter argument is Bloodseeker struggles a little bit with getting burst early on. Tiny is good at that. Rubik has some decent damage, but I still think it could have definitely been an option. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Cinder, and it's so nice of you to agree with me for once. Appreciate that. We are going to see the V-Tune Slark, and again, his items are all queued up and ready to go. I wonder if he's using a guide. Do you do that? Do pros do that? Do they make their own guides and just have everything in the shop ready to go? Queue up?
I think some might, actually.
Pango dies at the top lane. Wow, this is a super early death. That's a little surprising.
Ran him down with Fortune's End plus the Whirling Axis. Troll was level 2. And, yeah. Level 2 Pango doesn't have much in the way of escaping. Like, you have the Swashbuckle only, but it's a really long cooldown, 20 seconds. If you get caught by a Fortune's End while it's on cooldown, or even in a bad spot like this one in the trees, it's not even necessarily going to save you. So, a bit of a tough start there for him, as they have pulled a big wave with Rubik. He's going to get all of this experience. Pango, oh my god, if he gets a return kill here, he actually will.
A lot of damage. Nicely done with the Swashbuckle, able to get the extra proc, and that was actually the difference, going right through him. Nice little trick. Of course, it can be difficult to pull off, especially this early in the game without any boots or anything like that. So,
General is a very capable Pango player. He is very, very good.
Apparently. I mean, he buys Maelstrom. How can he not trust him? Undying. Okay.
Suicide to the tower. He wants a refill.
Tower.
Come back down bot. This is not a very good Undying lane, by the way. Grimstroke plus Pugna. 2 ranged heroes that aren't strength-based. They hit pretty hard, both of them. There's a lot of turnaround potential. If you get too aggressive, you can always get caught by the Inkswell. So you spam out your decays, give your slot creeps, and then you suicide to the tower. Rinse and repeat.
No, we got the Avalanche toss from Iceberg. I love Tiny mid by this. It's going to be really exciting. I think the panel's exactly right on that. FN's just going to TP out, and it will be to base because he has his teleportation ability, of course. So we'll be back very shortly. That's the one benefit, of course. One of the many benefits of playing the Nature's Prophet there. General in the top lane, again, just trying to pull these lanes to his favor so he can get a little bit of experience because he's getting bullied pretty hard here. Aloha Dance forced to TP to help now. But Epileptic 15 and 5 in the CS department versus, I guess, the Slark on the other side 16 and 3. So overall pretty even. Inkswell bottom lane, always want to fly. Soul Rip does heal him up a healthy amount and will live as a result. V-Tune? What in the butt? Okay, he lives. Very greedy though. Grimstroke misses his nuke there.
Crazy greedy.
Oh,
this lane bot gets really dangerous when Pugna reaches level 4 and Grim reaches level 4. I'm assuming they're both...
Know your place.
I'm assuming they're both going to be skilling their second spell on level 4, so you can Decrepify into Phantom's Embrace on a target. It locks them in silence and disarm, so you can't break the Decrepify, and you can't break the bug, or whatever you want to call it, the wife of Grimstroke. Well, that's the lore. I didn't make it.
I have to check on that one.
Honestly, a pretty good advice for real life. If you're angry at someone, just throw your wife at them. It generally works. They'll be silenced pretty quickly by that.
Aloha Dance ended up getting a courier. We'll get a bounty rune as well. And we'll TP out. Very nicely done for him. In the meantime, Decrepify was used on Undying. Amplifies that damage coming out from save, and they're able to take another kill in this bot lane.
Silence or Ink. He's thinking about it. I think both choices are good. It depends what kind of play they're looking for. The silence is really good against Slark though. If you time it well, if he doesn't pact off the Decrep, then he's just stuck in this permanent silence basically. They can't really deal with. Yeah, they are gonna skill
definitely
it.
Good.
And they've brought Oracle down. They're gonna try to overwhelm them here.
Well, we'll see how that works out for them. Dave is a lot of mana to work with now. We'll get the nuke off. V-Tune taunting away. By the way, I don't know if you know this, Sinner, but the Slark taunt, despite being one of the most popular taunts used in Dota 2 today, has the worst uptime of any taunt in the game. Very bad.
Maybe you should focus on
very long.
Playing the game better so you could rank up. I think focusing on taunts is a really good shortcut to dropping to Ancient.
You know,
it's not really what wins games.
It's funny that you say that because I don't taunt at all during the game. I always forget. As he's able to dark.
Well, then you're wasting your time even more. That's even worse. You're studying it and not using your knowledge for anything.
It's not knowledge,
terrible.
though. That is not knowledge. It's trivia. People like trivia questions, okay?
Right.
Now this tower's going to get pressured a little bit here from VPP. And Slark is going to dark pack that off. We'll pounce to safety.
Raining his raindrops one at a time here.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
3 charges left. General, I mean, he's kind of happy with this rotation, despite, I mean, Troll can kind of bully him a bit, but it's not nearly as bad as before, so he's able to get at least a little bit of experience now, or a good amount, I should say. And in fact, if you look at the CS, he's tied with Slark. So, that ain't good for Slark, that's for sure. Inkswell will connect onto Undying, as General is able to get a kill thanks to the rotation from Aloha Dance. We're just talking about how he can technically survive. Well, he can technically get a kill with a little bit of help. And DM just forcing everybody out of this lane. I mean, Pugna's got to be one of the most annoying heroes to deal with when he starts to get these levels. 3 levels in Nether Blast, of course, will not only push waves, take out the tower in quick succession as well. Man, look at the damage here. Always want to fly. Just taking it to the face. Only has 8 decay stacks.
I was just waiting for this. There has to be a moment for Nature's Prophet to get more involved now. He's going top on General. Has the stick charges. Not enough.
Yep, General will go down as a result. Actually had kind of a choice between the 2 lanes, but...
Yeah, I thought Firen might make the bottom move. Dive the Undying and get the tower. In my opinion, that's his next play on the map, is you push out mid, you get mana, and then you look to get down to business bottom before Slark hits 6, kill him off, get his tower, limit his space on the map.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
I think FN, compared to other Nature's Prophets mid, he's been rotating relatively little this game. I know it's only 8 minutes in, but other Nature's Prophets basically gank off cooldown. You know, every time teleport's ready, you just make a move. You can always put somebody else in this mid lane, like plant your Oracle there to get levels or whatever you want.
Ooh, they're going to attempt to gank
pretty farm intensive here in the lane.
Yeah, I mean, he's doing relatively well, but the Tiny is 67 and 14 in terms of
that's a really good lane
CS.
for Tiny.
Top of net worth right now.
Dire's
What
middle tower
in God's name is to build these days on a mid-Tiny? We're going to see a little action here. Oracle brought down a half HP, but General will probably be forced out by Epileptic Kid.
Guess I'm thinking he's probably gonna go. So he'll go Mask of Madness first. I think that's pretty stable. Most Tinies will do this as core. You cast your spells, you mom, and you just run people down with your tree. Sometimes you could see a dagger. Sometimes you see just hardcore damage with like crit.
Do people still go the... Yeah, he's going to get rolled on here.
Yes, super toast.
Repeatedly, and will be brought down as a result. Do people still go the status resistance on Tiny? Like the S and Y into like Satanic later on? Obviously a little bit of damage in between.
It's a possibility this game. I think status resistance is really good against the Dire lineup here. Against Pugna it's nice. Against Grimstroke it's nice.
V-Tune has to take off that Phantom's Embrace manually. Oracle in the meantime, the top lane probably will not be so lucky. The Mask of Madness being shown here. And the Avalanche is more than enough with that tree toss. So yeah, Iceberg is off to an absolutely incredible start. Epileptic Kid.
Oh, they're even showing the ward.
Able to take out this outpost. And that is a double outpost for VPP. So that's a good, clean amount of experience for them. By the way, did they fix... Oh, get back to that in just a moment. Undying will...
Dire's middle tower.
Did they fix Royal Jelly? I saw a post about that not giving any regen. I don't know if that's actually the case. I didn't see any notes on fixes, though.
That would be pretty surprising to me because Dota doesn't have bugs.
It's not in beta anymore.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Well, Epileptic, Kid, DM, and Save are all grouping up in the bot lane. This is going to be a freebie for them, and I think they can, yeah, they can TP back to this tier 1 to defend against this grouping from FlyToMoon. General does have Rolling Thunder available. FN has to be careful here. Does have the support of DM, of course. A lot of these treants just being taken out really fast by Iceberg. That tree is pretty freaking good at doing that.
Oh my god.
It's also pretty freaking good at taking towers because that siege damage. And he's just doing it all by his lonesome, so no defense whatsoever from VPP. Not feeling confident taking this fight at all.
Tiny is really strong right now. You got to be very cautious with how you approach this. Like the panel talked about, there's some easy targets for him. There's plenty of heroes he just blows up. Like 4 of these Radiant heroes, until Nature's Prophet starts bulking up, they're very susceptible to just getting comboed with one Swashbuckle or a Fate Bolt on top. So being really careful there, and really nice from FlyToMoon to identify that they can go for this push. It looks easier than it is to just call this, okay, let's just take mid tower, minute 10, you know, like, what are they gonna do? But they pulled it off, traded for the bot, pretty good trade. And Slark is getting some good base now. Both carries really, at this point, will be, it will be pretty peaceful for both of them, I think. Everybody else will be brawling a lot. Nature's Prophet wants to get involved, Pango wants to get involved, Tiny wants to make moves. Yeah. So there will be fighting, and Troll has a tendency of farming a little bit faster than Slark when he gets to Battle Fury, but until then it's pretty even.
Yeah, we'll be going to Battle Fury. Tiny did pick up a Yasha, so it could be SNY, could be Manta. What would you prefer this game? I mean, Manta would, it's not the most typical item, but if you need to take something off in terms of Dispel, as we'll talk about that in just a moment. As Always Wanna Fly is going to get ganked. And nicely done here from VTP. In the top lane, it's going to be the counter gank. You see this so often, just the mirrored ganks, essentially. DM is completely alone. Oh, looks like he's going to be fine, though. Just walks into the trees. No more catch. So we'll
just run away. Yeah, there's a Pugna, even with the move speed changes, is obviously still a super fast hero. So 400 move speed with
Kid is taking out a nice ancient stack, by the way. Actually used his ult to take this out as fast as possible. So
it's about pinged out now. I'm like, wait, where are I?
Yeah, that was, I think that was a triple stack if I'm not mistaken. But about 1,000 away from finishing Battle Fury for himself. Slark still working on his defusal. But General pretty low on mana here. Still going for that same... I love this, man. Maelstrom again, but into what? So first game he went, what did he go before Ags after Maelstrom? The second game he went Force Staff. Oh, he went Halberd, right? So he's kind of switched up that second item every game. So I'm expecting something completely random. Close his eyes and pick something, anything.
I'm trying to think about what the best one is here. He went the Halberd specifically against Troll. I'm wondering if he wants to do it again, or if he's like, okay, I can carry again. You know, it is a really good Pango game, except for the Grimstroke ult. So if they play their positioning well in the fights and don't get soulbound together with Slark, for example, you can do so much with an X in this game as well, I think. Let's see what the plan is. He's not queuing anything up yet.
How does Pugna Life Drain work in Grimstroke Soulbind? Do you know?
You just drain them both. And then, unless it's changed, the guy you don't target is the one whose life drain breaks. So, okay, this is a bit weird. Let's say you target two guys, and you target a close guy, and then the secondary autocast is on a guy far away. If he outranges your life drain, it cancels on both heroes, I think.
Oh, interesting.
But it's specifically, yeah, it's a bit weird. The dominant one or something is the far one.
The dominant
yeah, that's pretty fun. I remember testing it.
Pugna getting ganked here. General setting it up with the Rolling Thunder, and Iceberg will take it
Easy
for
pick.
himself.
General seems to just find multiple of these like really good locations every game. He knows the map super well on Pango. He always plays these tight corners where he can get double, triple, quad stuns on Rolling Thunder, and doesn't hesitate to go for it when he gets the opportunity. I can understand why they picked this guy, this hero, with such a high rating.
Yeah. Oh, always want to fly. Gets the tombstone on the cliff. He was trying to deward. I mean, I guess he did, but it will be dewarded again. And will die as a result of that. So it was an SNY for Iceberg, and we'll be going AC now. So this is kind of like there was a build almost a year ago that kind of started. I can't remember how long ago they changed the tree throw, for that skill to be just a constant thing. But I've liked Tiny a lot more since then, for sure.
Oh, he's in trouble. He's
taking
alone.
a lot of damage. The toss will finish him off, but Iceberg is going to take the brunt of the pressure now as this is turned into a 3v1. Soulbind onto him alone. General has to be careful, does not want to run into him. Waits for it to run out. They're actually going to get a kill off the bat, so a 1-for-1. Epileptic Kid already used his ultimate, so will not find it. And Avalanche is going to help get yet another kill for Iceberg. So they turn this around, a 1-for-3 in the end, despite losing the Rubik first.
He is so tanky on that Tiny. Troll absolutely needed to get a root with Battle Trance, but he didn't get one. I think he got 3 hits off, didn't get a root, and then Iceberg reset the position. General waited out the entire Soulbind, which doesn't last. I believe it's fully affected by status resistance, right? So it was 20% shorter on the Tiny with his S and Y. General comes in, and it just becomes really easy for them in this instance.
How does it work if you're the secondary target with status resist on a Soulbind?
Then I think it's full duration.
Mechanics here.
I'm actually not sure.
I have to test that one sometime.
I'm not completely sure if it even affects status resistance in general, but I'm pretty close to certain it does. But yeah, with secondary targets and stuff, good question.
Thank you, Cinderin. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. You're welcome.
I just want positive feedback for my trivia / mechanic questions. Well, FlyToMoon is going to take out a good part of the jungle here from VPP, who are not feeling too confident going up this cliff. And again, a lot of it has to do with not seeing where the Tiny is. Of course, he's not there at the moment, but does have the Hyperstone now, going towards that AC that we talked about. So mega farmed. Like, he is over 2,000 net worth over the Troll World Order at this point. His General, bot lane, pops the haste. We'll be good to go. Could turn this back around if he really wants, but has absolutely 0 teammates with him.
And this is a good drawing on the map from Iceberg. I mean, it's not... Like, the drawing itself isn't good, but the idea is good.
Mona Lisa, yeah.
Get them in on the top tower. You know the enemy team is in your jungle bot. You know you have the tower push available with Tiniest really faceted. You have very well set up top with a ward. Slark is in good position. He probably thinks twice about going to hit the mid tower because he's lacking information. If they had any ward in their own jungle bot, he would be going to hit this tier 2. But at the very least, they'll go for the top tower, keep pushing in mid, and see when they want to make their own move. There is a smoke ready on the Rubik. Anytime they want to try for it, they could try to chase down there. Slark with the defusal is ready. Yeah. Pango is queuing up the eggs. I don't know if you mentioned it. He's going to go straight eggs this time.
Oh, straight eggs this time. Wow-wee. What a pleasure this has been. Boy, oh boy. I feel like if you're... I mean, the good thing about that is it essentially ends up aligning with your level 15, right? Because a lot of times if you're going the mid-Pango build, that's your third item at best. Sometimes it's your fourth, but that's like by the time you're level 20 or like 18, so you've had that 15 talent for quite a while, so that is the one benefit. So not going for any type of utility. Which, you know me, I'm a greedy boy, so I like it.
I know you're a sucker for the damage Pango build, but I mean, when it works for General, why would he change it, right? If it worked super well last game, he did tons of damage, had a huge impact on the game. At the rate this game is played out and how slow the towers are being taken, I don't know if he needs any value item right now. Like, there's no... It doesn't seem like they're under any pressure.
His value item's a clumsy net, right?
Yeah, true. I mean, he got that for free. That's kind of nice.
Yeah, it is. It's a solid item. A little bit slower in casting than it used to be, but he'll live through the day. I think it's actually a bit overrated on Pango, but that's because I don't play Pango as a utility, so... Slark looking for FNC here. He will start it off, but the TP out will be canceled. Does he have time to do another one? He's going to sprout up. Quelling Blade is there.
Sprout for vision.
Is actually stuck inside there. Wow. Oh, that was a... what the hell? That was a stolen Sprout. What in the world? Another Sprout comes in, but it looks like he will find the kill.
I mean, that ended up working out, but that Sprout from the dance was...
That was very sloppy. We're going to have a little bit of engagement here. Save. Dying to the zombies. Looks like he will barely get out. That'll break up this fight completely.
VP.Prodigy are just not the same team in 2 and 3 to every other game I've seen them play. I don't know if this last game broke them, if they got a little bit too creative, or if FlyToMoon just really stepped it up, but they are just being crushed.
I mean, it's the Windrunner, right? You pick Windrunner, you just lose the series. Not even just that game. It's over. I mean, they can still come back. I mean, that's the thing. They have the Grimstroke ult, which is very powerful, but like, how good is the double Wrath of Nature? Would you say that's even something to write home about? Like, what is their wombo combo potential with that Soulbind? It's obviously good against the Pangolier if you're able to set it up correctly, but is there a damage spell on top of that?
It's not great. It's really not great. You have, 2 Fury ultis. I mean, 2 Purifying Flames, but do you really want to count that? I don't think so. Double Life Drain is nice.
This is where you got to buy Dagon, right?
I mean, Pugna should probably get that as an item this game. They need damage. I'm trying to think about what the primary thing that has changed in Prodigy's drafts has been that has really affected them. The best conclusion I'm coming to is that they're just not utilizing DM in the same way. In game number 1, when he had the Mars, he was really the playmaker, front-lining, finding moves, having the stun. And now in these previous 2 games, he's been playing Pugna and Timbersaw, respectively, which doesn't really have the same playmaking potential, in the same way, at least, that they might be a bit used to playing around. So I don't know. I mean, they obviously couldn't get the Mars all 3 games, but this game they could, for example, take an Axe as a possibility.
Would you say the VPV games that we've cast before, that DM was on that same level that he was playing in?
Oh, he's in trouble. He's Oracle.
Tango, alright. It's going to get saved there for the time being as the Soulbind does come out. They're going to get a double silence, but it looks like DM might fall too low. He's going to get fully healed thanks to that Life Leech. General comes in, missing his ult completely, though. And does this mean they need to fall back? The ult is popped by Troll Warlord, but he is all alone right now. He's completely isolated, but everybody on VPP is extremely low in the meantime. Pango will get out. No, he will die, actually. So it's a 3-for-1. Pugna barely died there in that engagement. A save. Now attempting to get out of dodge. Epileptic Kid doing some more damage, and Iceberg is going to get surrounded here. It's going to be really close. They're going to trade lives, though. So it's a 4-for-3 with the buyback onto the Oracle. And that was just the Aegis, but he doesn't have a tree to equip quite yet, which doesn't really matter because he is disarmed anyway. Sprouted up now.
He's crawling in the backpack.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate. That is very unfortunate, so he's stuck in there for quite a while, but Slark right now has a decent amount of agility still, and he's going to take out Oracle. It looks like that is a dieback on that hero. Feather out, take off that silence. The tower just 1 hit away. And they will find it, and the Mask of Madness is popped. Can they stop this? They have Decrepify, they have Sprout. Of course, with that S and Y, it's going to be a little bit less in duration. Always want to fly. Really can't do much
This
to
whole
help here, so
fight
they're going
was
to be
a
happy with that tower.
Mess. Like, what actually happened? So the way they initiated to begin with, like you said, the Pangold kind of hit nothing. They dove in behind the tower into a Pugna that was being full healed by the Oracle ulti, and they still end up barely winning the fight in the end. Just goes to show how far ahead they are. I think the saving grace in a way for FlyToMoon there was that there was a flat-out full duration tombstone that never got addressed, and it just kept building up. So they kind of end up stabilizing, and they in the end they do come out winners. They get the tier 3 tower, they force a buyback or two, they do gain a little more gold. So, but that was
Imagine
by
a
no means
Bloodseeker
clean.
Cinderin in these long engagements.
Oh yeah, that would have been nice, huh?
Tasty, tasty treat. FlyToMoon's going to smoke up. There's a defusal onto the Pugna. DM's in a lot of trouble. Has really no mana to speak of. Does decrepify. But remember, Iceberg does both physical and magical damage, and they're going to find him very easily.
And they got to save as well.
Yeah, they're going to get the Grimstroke. So Iceberg actually going deep into the base. He's going to get a toss off onto the Oracles at half HP. Look at that range. He can throw his tree, but he's silenced thanks to the Massive Madness. And False Promise is used on Oracle himself. That is not something you want to see. Although he did just die back previously, so he kind of does need to live. But now they know that ult is down. This should be a free Rax. I mean, Troll Warlord, where is he? Oh, he's back in the base. The Pango's not there. The question is, do they even need him? Slark getting healed up. Yeah, they're going to find that melee Rax, and it's essentially a freebie. If they can get perhaps an exit kill. No, they're not even going to try. So FlyToMoon, it's their game to lose right now. They're in complete control of this game.
Dire are scanning.
I mean, something that you could do for VPP to try to combo with this Soulbind is get a Sheep Stick eventually as well, but it feels like it's just so far away from anything that really does
FN is
for that combo.
Very low farmed for a core Fury on this game. I'm not sure how comfortable he is playing this hero in general, but I just think the way that VP.Prodigy has played the map, there's 200 CS on Furion minute 26 when you're the mid Furion is not very much unless other than your team are taking a lot, but they aren't really. Pugnan's 120, Troll has 200 as well, so probably hasn't been able to play the map as effectively as he wants, mainly out of fear for the Slark.
Shadow Blade and BKB is forced.
We'll get out.
That was the 10-second BKB, by the way.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Never feels good to have to do that, but like you said, he does need to catch up on farm. Yep, Avalanche and the net to follow.
Butterfly on time is so tanky.
Yeah, he actually did build the butterfly, so it takes apart his Master Madness. Here comes the Pango. We're seeing the double life drain.
Double suck.
It's pretty good, actually. They're able to stay in range, so it's a 2-for-1 to start this fight, and that's Nature's Prophet wasn't even here to begin with. But they do lose the Grimstroke to follow now. An Epileptic Kid left to his own devices, completely surrounded, is pounced, and will be brought down eventually. And DM, the last remaining member of VP, looks like he will be surrounded by General and no stun to follow, so a nice little circle there. And they don't even have tier 1 spot yet, so they might just push this.
They did get the Tiny there, and that fight actually looked promising, but they had to commit absolutely everything to it, and Slark just kept building up. Eventually connected with the fight. So yeah, you killed this Tiny, but his effective physical HP right now is almost 10,000. Like he's 3,200 health and 54 or 74% physical resist. So it's really only the spells that do anything to him. I think slightly different itemization from Iceberg could actually make him invincible. I don't think this butterfly was needed at all. He already has attack speed from Quiras, Treads, as well as Sanjanyasha. So he could have bought a BKB, he could have bought, I don't know, Satanic instead of that, and probably just flat up invincible. So I'm not sure I like the butter that much here.
I love Satanic.
He has a buffer, a big buffer still.
Yep, I kind of agree. I mean, it feels like Butterfly for tiny builds like this is usually not something you get until like a 5th item, I want to say.
It can be really good in this slot. It's just I don't think it solves the potential issues he has in the game, right? The only physical problem is Troll, and he's not strong enough, so you don't need to solve that problem.
Is on the cliff, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, but they gets a double life drain still, and they're able to find 2 kills.
Wait, what the hell?
The range on that was pretty impressive.
This game. What is going on?
They're just playing without their tiny.
King of the
Their
hill.
tiny is like their whole game right now.
Clip him into the double suck.
Oh, epileptic. They still want to fight. The BKB's popped by VP.Prodigy.
Radiant's bottom tower.
Here comes the Pango with the Rolling Thunder, Iceberg. Getting off a couple right clicks. I think they're regretting this. This is a weird fight.
3-on-5
Really
under
weird
the enemy
situation.
tower.
Yeah.
They're gonna hunt them down. Their catch is limited. Furon could teleport and try to pincer them, but
No,
doesn't
they went
look
the
like
wrong
they're
way.
confident enough to do it. Yeah, the other heroes are spawning now on FlyToMoon,
Are
so
scanning.
it's by no means a safe teleport here.
Roshan will know very shortly when he can spawn. And that'll probably be... I mean, if FlyToMoon get that again, I think that is minimum a second Rax, if not game. That's going to be very close.
You have to fight it.
How's the Roche fights, though? Yeah, how are the Roche fights this game for each respective team if they get caught off guard?
I always love Undying and Pango in that area, right? Like any sort of zone control is really strong at the Roche Pit. Tombstone's good, Pango's good. On the other side, you're way more reliant on finding a good attack angle. Like, it feels like if you just run at the enemy team, nobody really just does that, right? But imagine the two teams clash into each other. Like, the VP lineup has a lot of limitations with how they can actually catch someone and start the fight. So I think they need to try to pincer and flank and find especially the Rubik has been a really good kill for them. Get the Rubik and the Undying out of the picture as soon as possible and don't go on the course.
What are your thoughts on the Silver Edge, by the way?
My thoughts are
Clark.
somebody's about to die.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, Nine might have to false promise himself again. Nope, he's going to get telekinesed into a swift death. Looks like everybody else should get out, though.
You're really happy with that if you're VP.Prodigy. That could have been the end of the game.
sure.
You escaped fully, except for the position.
It still might be the end of the game.
Well, they've opened up the area now for FlyToMoon, so now they can play map control up here and wait for the next Roche, which is spawning in now. FlyToMoon will find out, or always want to fly for FlyToMoon
Yes.
to find out.
There he goes. He sees it, and he walks away immediately. Silver Edge doesn't reduce regen anymore. It only did that for a month, of course, for those keeping track.
It does break Fervor,
does
though,
disable
right?
Fervor. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fervor is pretty strong. How long does it break for, actually? I forgot. It's like 7-4? 4 seconds. It's not even that long, actually. 4 seconds. Yep, that's what I thought.
Close enough. It lost 20%, right? So.
Yeah, that's everything lost 20%. That just wasn't in the patch notes. That was a tight
Roche is dead. I think you put the cheese on Tiny. They actually give him the Aegis and the cheese to Slark. Okay.
Yeah, it's a
I
little
think-
surprising. Considering the status resist, you have time to pop cheese.
Yeah, I feel like he has enough buffer to get cheese off on Tiny in any situation in this game right now. They don't have enough stuns to lock him down. But the counter argument here is by putting Aegis on Tiny, you have it on the guy who's going to siege high ground, right? So you get the safety when he wants to go and hit towers. Did we mention he got the
actually
Titan
got-
Sliver, by the way? I think
I
this
was
is
just about to say
the
that.
best hero in the
That is
game
the
to get
best
this
hero.
item. Yeah, absolutely crazy good on
sure.
him. 16% base attack damage is a lot on Tiny.
Indeed.
Loves the magic and status line. This S tier item for this hero. This game is so good.
S plus tier, some would
S
say.
plus.
As Grimstroke is brought to the ground. And, I mean, this is an 18k net worth lead for FlyToMoon.
Dire's bottom
About
Going to be an ult
possibly
here
more.
from Troll Warlord. He's going to get Yule's up. That's actually the buy on Pango after all that, but he gets decimated by Epileptic Kid and FN, who is here to join the party, who now has a Bloodthorn, by the way.
The guy initiating the move did not get back up, and the guy who got jumped had a Furion, so...
Yeah, it happens. But it might cost them a bit. Never mind. Yeah, no Basher.
There's a
That might
pretty
be
good
next.
argument to be made for going Basher this game on Slark over Silver Edge. I don't know if the break has enough value compared to just having a Shadow Blade into Basher, because Bash is obviously awesome against Troll. It counters the Sphere and BKB TP out that he's fallen victim to 2 or 3 times now. So I would have liked to see a Basher over that.
Yep, I agree. I don't think Silver... I mean, I feel like the Fervor, taking off Fervor for 4 seconds, it's cool in theory, but I mean, in practice, have we really even seen that matter at all? It seems situational at best, considering, like, it's usually really good if you have at least 2 or 3 heroes that have a passive that you can...
Oh, you don't want to get
Here, Soulbind is there in addition to the ult from Oracle. Looks like they're going to find the Grimstroke right away. He buys back instantly, and this could be the final fight of the game, potentially. Epilepticate does a nice job of taking out the Tombstone. He's going to focus his right clicks onto Slark, who's just going to pop that ult. No mana to speak of whatsoever on poor Troll here.
40
now
stacks.
Getting surrounded
41 too.
Closely here. Yeah, 42 stacks, 68. That ends up being a 50-stack agility if you can do the math, Cinder. An NA math for the win. Epilepticate gets off his ult. He's getting life drained. We'll keep him alive a little bit longer, but there is the life drain stolen from Aloha Dance, and GG comes out. I don't think VPP is very happy about this game. They got dumpstered.
Definitely think in terms of overall strategy and comfort zone, there's something to in this game. Like I said, the primary difference between the draft and this game, to an extent,